Me is Hope Virgo. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, listening to that, it's a very difficult subject. How did you feel when you actually looked for help and couldn't get it?
Really completely let down. So I developed anorexia when I was 12 and lived with it for about 4 or 5 years before being hospitalised when I was 17. And then the fact that when I relapsed in 2016, I knew exactly what was happening, and I was so frustrated because when I left children's services, I was adamant I was never going to end up as an inpatient in adult services. And the thing about anorexia is it's such a competitive illness that as soon as you're turned away from services for not being underweight enough, actually that whole part of the competition side of your brain fuels everything, and so then you feel so much worse. And I ended up feeling very unhappy for 4 weeks, pretty much came very close to ending my life because I was so frustrated and fed up with that relentless anorexic part of my brain constantly telling me what I should be and shouldn't be doing.
And you've started this campaign and you've heard from lots of other people who found themselves in a similar position. What is the reaction of those people when they're faced with the same problem that you were faced with?
Exactly the same. So people either end up losing all of that weight so that they can't access services. A lot of people end up ending their lives because they don't know what to do about it. And then there's like this middle ground of people who live functioning very unwell, but not unwell enough to actually access that support. And I come across a lot of people like that who've lived with the illness for pretty much their whole life, but have never ever been able to get any support for it because they haven't met that BMI threshold.
I mean, you know, obviously for people in that situation, they could probably, you know, not imagine why they're not getting that support. But, you know, the NHS has limited resources. And so I suppose, you know, it has to make tough decisions, doesn't it?
No, and it does. And I agree that actually some people do need to have a hospital bed when they're really unwell and some people don't. And for me, actually having community support is so much better. And I spent a year in hospital, and when I left hospital, I was extremely institutionalised. It completely saved my life. But actually, for the first couple of years out of hospital, I was eating my meals at exactly the same times a day, couldn't eat anything that wasn't on the hospital plan. And I'm not saying that actually we shouldn't be admitting people to hospital when we need to, and people who are more severe need to get that support. But it's about getting those people who are on kind of the brink of developing an illness. I know at the Maudsley Hospital, they have a very good way of assessing whether people need support. And as part of that, they do actually support people who are at high risk of developing an eating disorder. And it's things like that that actually, if we do more practices like that, we're going to save the NHS so much money anyway.